Yeah, hey, Captain Jim. This is Ted Johnson with Marketing for Guides. I want to thank you for letting us do this website analysis for you today. Instead of doing it on a kind of a long, boring report, I decided to record this video because I can jump around and look at different tools and websites and pages and that sort of thing in a much more, I think, interesting way than putting it on a 40-page report for you. So anyway, I'm going to try to keep this video somewhere around 15 minutes at the very most. But without further ado, I have a company. The name of my company is Marketing for Guides, and all I do is work with guides and charter captains, and been doing it for over 6 years. Have about 150 clients now that we have done web work for or marketing work. A lot of our clients, they will, or a lot of people that talk to us initially, they sort of mistake us just for another web company. Somebody will throw up a website and hope it works. And yes, we do websites, and yes, we're darn good at it, but our real forte is developing and setting up a website that works within the sports fishing industry, knowing the little nuances of what goes into a site and where you put information that will entice people to give you a call for more information or to book a trip more often than just having a website that maybe has been done by somebody that also does websites for restaurants and coffee houses and doesn't understand that part of your business. And so anyway, that's what we specialize in. That's all we do. The first part of this analysis, I wanted to take a look at a tool that we use to determine how much exposure your website is getting out there already. And so for your domain, floridafishingcharters.org, you have 38 organic keywords that you're ranking for in the top 100. So there are 38 searches or search terms per month that that you're ranking in the top 10 pages for Google on. And out of those 38 keywords that you have a ranking in the first 100 search terms, out of that you get 3 searches per month off of Google that are directed toward your website. Now, without expanding on that, that's not really good. I just recently was providing someone else with a website analysis sort of in your part of the world, and they had about 400 and some organic keywords that they were ranking for, and the organic monthly traffic was well over 200. And so anyway, you forgive me for saying this, but your site has room for improvement in being able to send you more business. The domain score is 0 on a scale of 0 to 100, 100 being the best. Then this tool ranks how your website is performing, and obviously 0 is not so good, but there are ways to increase that and make that better. And then the number of backlinks, that's the number of other websites or social media outlets that know of you that have links back to you, is only 5, but they've set it up so that all 5 of those you can't link back to, which is very important also. So that's something else that would probably be needed to work on if you wanted to have your website performing for you. Now, if I come down here and I look at the number of keywords that you're ranking for from December of last year until September, if you just look at the graph itself and not quite understand what it means, you're in an upward trend, and I've got to congratulate you on that, because the site is starting to grab more keywords. But one of the things I wanted to show you is I'm going to hit the September keyword chart. You have no keywords where you rank in the first 3 positions in Google. And we can look at those and see what words those are here in just a second. But then you have 2 keywords where you're ranked in the 4th to the 10th position, which means you're on the home page, but or the first page of Google, but you're kind of at the bottom. and then 16 keywords in the 11th position, which is the second page through the 5th page, and then you've got 20 keywords from the 5th page to the 100th page. And so really, the only keywords that are giving you any sort of exposure at all, there's only 3 of those that are providing any sort of ranking at all. If I come back here, let's say to April, I've got 2 keywords in the 4th through the 10th position, which is the bottom of the first page, none at the top of the first page, and then a few keywords underneath that. Now, if I scroll down here just a little bit, it shows us the pages where people are linking to. You've only got a couple, which is your home page, and it has it doesn't have any visits from social media and that sort of thing, but that's where most of the backlinks are coming into. And then we come down here and we look at the keywords that you have some ranking for. And so the first one here is fishing charters. I think it's pronounced Palomito, Florida. And the volume is there are 30 people per month typing in fishing charters Palomito, Florida, FL. And you're in the 9th position, which means that you are on the first page at the very bottom. But Google's estimate is that you're not getting any clicks on that because you're at the bottom of the first page. And there's only 30 people that are searching for it, and so you typically in the 9th and the 10th position may only get 1 out of 20, 1 out of 30 visits, and so they've still ranked it as a 0, but that is good that you're on the first page, but improving that 9th position would be very important. Now the big dog on the porch is Florida Fishing Charter. There are 2,900 people every month that type that into the internet, and you're in the 49th position, which means you're just at the cusp of going on to the 5th page there. And being in the 5th page, and as you know as well as I, people don't tend to scroll past the first page anymore. You're not really getting any visits from that at all. If you were to start ranking, let's say in the middle of the first page, you could expect anywhere from maybe 10 to 12% of those people that would click on your search and go to your website. So 10% of 2,900 is 290 people per month that you could encourage to go to your site, and then at that point encourage them to contact you or book a trip. So in your position, I would really start focusing on how I can get my rankings to improve for Florida fishing charters. Now, this isn't something, Captain Jim, that's going to happen overnight. This is a very popular key term, and it's something that you sort of got to play with on a long-term basis, just because, again, the amount of competition that you have for that particular keyword. But because you are floridafishingcharters.org, that helps out a lot with that domain, and that could bring you up in the rankings there also. And then you look at Bradenton, Florida Fishing Charters. There are 320 people that search for that every month. You're in the 36th position, so just on roughly the 4th page. But out of that, you're not getting any sort of visits either. This would be an easier term to improve your rankings on a short-term basis. And so if you were to get that, let's say in the top of the or the bottom of the first page in Google, that could generate anywhere from 30 to 40 visitors coming to your website, again, that give them the opportunity to look at you and see if they want to click through and have you take them on a charter. And I can go through this as you can see that it's most of the rankings that you have are somewhere between the 3rd page and the 5th page, which again means that you're really not getting any traffic in regards to that. Now, improving traffic generally starts on your website. So I'm going to go back to your website here in just a second, but there's an opportunity that you have that you may want to consider. It may there may be a knee-jerk reaction to the cost of it, but that would be something, if I were in your position, I might want to consider contacting the company at least to see if it's available. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here, and this is a company, I think they're out of Colorado, is where Huge Domains are, but they're the ones that own FloridaFishingCharters.com. And if you were to pick up FloridaFishingCharters.com, I'm sure that you're currently losing people because they're forgetting to type in .org versus .com, and having the .com would also help improve your rankings. Now, Huge Domains is pretty proud of owning this domain. They give you the opportunity to buy it from them for 12 monthly payments of $333. I don't work for them. I don't get a commission for this at all. But if I were in your shoes, and if you haven't done it already, I would give them a call and say that you're interested, but I'm not really interested in paying $333 a month for it. There are reasons that they will reduce that amount for you, and it may take some negotiation to do it. But if you could get it down to maybe half of what it is right now, that would be something that would probably be a good investment, that you get a return on that in the first year, just in the increase of traffic that you would have just by having the FloridaFishingCharters.com go to, link to your website also. So anyway, here's your site. You got a beautiful boat, man. I'd love to come fishing with you. It looks like a great vessel, and I was reading about it, about how it's designed and that sort of thing, and the electronics that you have on it. I mean, it really commands attention. It's really pretty cool. So anyway, here's your header here. Now on your header, you have the heading of Florida Fishing Charter. The problem with that is the way that it's set up is that Florida Fishing Charter is, in the eyes of Google, because it is really part of your website, it's part of this picture that you have of the boat, and Google's not able to read this Florida Fishing Charter itself. And so when people come to your homepage, when Google's coming here also, they'll look at it and they don't necessarily read this as the heading of the website. They probably are reading "Reserve Your Trip" as the heading to the website, which isn't doing you any good at all. And so putting a heading down here where it's "Reserve Your Trip" and changing that to the Florida Fishing Charter, just maybe above it, and in what they call a heading 1 tag, and then putting in the "Reserve Your Trip spaces limited" below that, that in itself could make a big difference in how your website is performing. And then you've got some good text here, about some of the rates, and up to 6 anglers. I assume you're a 6-pack captain and that sort of thing. Pictures of fish. Google map. Google loves to see the map. You've got your third-party endorsements, meaning the icons of the Florida Guides Association and that sort of thing. And then you come down here to the footer. Now in the footer and just above it, you have then this other information of shop name and mountain and brand name, and it looks like these just are part of the website template, and they really shouldn't be there. This is killing your online SEO, because Google's looking at that and they're saying, well, what's supposed to go here? Because the title is "click here to add a title." This is just something that your web designer, whoever that is, has missed, and this needs to go, because they don't have it filled out with the gear that you use. Maybe it's Sims and Shimano and Lama Glass or whatever it is. It would be cool to have those down there, but if you don't have fishing related links down here, it's really confusing Google. The other thing on your copyright, The copyright now is at 2017, and Google reads that, and they're reading it as, well, hey, this guy hasn't updated his website in 2 years. And so updating that copyright date, getting rid of this line of a sort of example indicias or icons, and then changing out the headings on the website a little bit so that it can be found would help you a lot. The other thing is that Google is really looking for a lot more text on the homepage anymore. This last year, they had an update to Google's algorithm, and it's appropriately called Florida 2. Anyway, Florida 2, basically in that algorithm, they're looking for at least 1,200 words of content on the homepage, about us sections and that sort of thing. My guess is, looking here, that you may have 500 words on your homepage, but that's about it. So beefing that up a little bit would help a lot. If I go to your rates page, again, we got the picture of the boat, but without the heading in there. The heading on the rates page is Call Us. So Google looks at it, and it's kind of trying to set up this page as Call Us versus something like Florida charter fishing rates, and then the number directly below that. That would improve this page if you did it that way. And again, if in the coding that title was marked as an H1 tag or H1 title, it would help out a lot. So there is the rates that you have. Again, on sub pages like this, something that's not the home page, Google's looking for at least 600 words. Again, you may have 200 words here. That would need to be improved to be able to improve your rankings accordingly. And I can go through the rest of the site and pick apart every page, but that's really not what this is intended to do as my analysis. Overall, you've got a good website. You've got some good layout. You've got some great photos in here. You're showing people not only what they're going to be experiencing in regards to the boat, but they're also, that you're showing pictures of fish and that sort of thing, which is really cool. It's just the layout of it. It's the design and the way things are laid out, and the lack of content in some of the pages that is really holding you back. If those were done appropriately by somebody that understands the fishing business and the nuances of how people get to a site and how do they contact you and that sort of thing, if they were to go in and edit the site, then you'd have a better chance of it performing a whole lot better. Now, one of the things, Captain Jim, I've got to point out is that I'm sure you get calls like everybody else does, from people that say, hey, we looked at your website, it doesn't look so good, but we can get you to the first page of Google in 2 days, or whatever that is. Those people, if they're saying that sort of thing to you, you need to turn your back and run, because Google doesn't have a way of improving rankings that quickly as they did maybe 5 years ago. They really want people to prove themselves that they're adding the right content, that they're an authority in the business, and so they'll kind of throttle back your website after you've made changes, and they'll monitor people coming in and seeing if they're going to a second page, seeing if they're interacting with the site, how long they're staying on the site. And then 3, 4, 5 months down the road is when you'll start seeing the results of what you've done, because as Google is seeing that the site is improving, the interaction is improving, and it's done over time, then in about the 4th or 5th month, that's when you'll really start seeing the results hockey stick up, as we call it in a graph, and you'll start getting better search results from Google, and then continuing that practice of adding content and keeping things updated and formatted correctly will only improve that. So, I'm going to take this juncture at this point to kind of throw my hat in the ring. If you're looking for somebody to do that for you, this is something that we do all day long. And in your case, it doesn't appear that the website needs to be redone. that you just need to have somebody go through with a critical eye that understands how the website needs to be set up to improve those, to go through and do it for you. And again, I'd like to throw my hat in the ring if that's something that you're looking to do. I think you'd be very impressed with the work that we do and the results that you can get from our work. It's something that generally is an investment because you'll get the return on it, as quickly as any SEO company out there. And again, it takes time to get all this stuff done, but it's something that we do for a living. Anyway, thanks again, Captain Jim. Tight lines to you, and I hope to hear back from you.